Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this session. I think we have heard through a number of great speakers, lots of inspirational, lots of very, very rich data on all the uncertainties facing us, both globally as well as within Pakistan more specifically. So Sami has his eyes on me. He has requested me to watch the timer. So I will not repeat all the great stuff which has already been said and try and jump straight into the session. So this is of course about uncertainties. So just to take a little bit of a lighter note, जब कल रात को, and I hope everyone speaks Urdu here, रात को जब मैंने समी को देखा कि उन्होंने बहुत ही एक स्मार्ट जो है ना काला शलवार कमीज़ पहना हुआ है, फिर बैकग्राउंड में शोले दिखाई दे रहे थे, तो मैंने कहा कि अवार्ड सेरेमनी में कुछ डिफरेंट किस्म का रंग नचने लगा. लेकिन then of course there are opportunities beyond uncertainty. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, now we can.
Thank you. So opportunities beyond uncertainty. So while we didn't have the Rangeen whatever event of a different sort we were hoping for, but we were thoroughly inspired by what Jahangir Khan had to present and others had to present, right? So I'm just putting a different twist on opportunities beyond uncertainty. I've got a very sort of accomplished, very senior panel here, and I want to jump straight into the questions as soon as I can. But one thing we would like to find out before we do that is a little bit about our audience today, right? So I'm going to request everyone to please stand up, and I'll ask questions. And I ask, as if you find yourself answering yes to a question, I would request you to please sit down. So please stand up, energize yourself. You've just had some tea, so this will help lose a little bit of calories as well. So you guys don't need to stand, but yeah, it would be nice. So calories, I think everyone wants to lose, right? So, okay, so the first question is, who has ChatGPT applications on their phones and has used it within this week? So whoever has done that, please sit down. So I can see approximately 20%, 30% maybe of the audience. Good. Question number 2 is, how many of you are involved in use of technology across the business and contributing towards the technology strategy of your organizations? And there will be questions to confirm that. So if you're sitting down, be careful.
Everybody is sitting down. All set.
Almost everyone is sitting down. Saad is still standing up, so I'm a bit surprised, but anyways. Okay, so majority of the people here, please have a seat, are actually using technology or contributing to the strategy of the technology. So panelists, we have an informed audience here, so you can respond in the best way you want to, knowing an informed audience is amongst us today. So for me, the test of the panelists is, I've heard there's a lot of people in the room who are non-finance, including one of our panel members. So the litmus test would be at the panel level, if Shoaib at this stage of his career decides to become a member of the Chartered Accountants of Pakistan, that's one. The second test is if we have more of the people who are sitting here who are non-chartered accountants also aspiring to at least send their kids, if they're not at that stage of life, to being a chartered accountant and a CFO and hopefully in the future CEO as well. So those are the tests we have set for ourselves. Without losing further, let's say, time, I'd like to now get into the discussion, right? So Shoaib, the very first question is for you. As the founder, CEO, you've of course had that experience from the very outset. So how do you see CFOs contributing to the strategy and the innovation side of the business? And what can be done to enhance that further if there is any thoughts on that?
No, thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to be on the esteemed panel. And on a lighter note, to answer your question about taking the membership of the Chartered Accountants. So as a founder of the CFO Society in Pakistan, I have been generally known as the father of CFA in Pakistan. And it's very interesting that just the other day, actually my son got the CFA charter. So practically now I'm actually a father of a CFA charter holder.
So we're doing well. We're doing well.
Abu CFO. Abu CFA. Okay. So with regard to your question about the role of CFO in fostering innovation in organization, I think we have to understand how the role of a CFO has evolved over the years. And even before that, I would like to share the findings of a study done by KPMG Forbes. It was about 2-3 years ago. And the findings of the study are quite shocking, but also very interesting. And I'll just quote, obviously it's a long study, I'll just quote one thing from that. It says almost 1 in 3 CEOs worry that their CFO is not prepared for the challenges ahead. So that was done about, I think, 4 years ago. And pretty much so, I believe this is still valid. So it does not only highlight the importance of it does not say that the CFO is incompetent, but it highlights how the role of the CFO has evolved over the years. And I relate it to my career as well, like about 28 years ago when Al Mizan Investment was set up. So I hired my first CFO. So his job description had basically 3 main components. And one of the components was that you have to be responsible for bookkeeping and accounting. Second, you have to be responsible for financial reporting. And third was you have to ensure statutory compliance. So it's very simple job description. And certainly the CFO of that time actually complied with that requirement. So basically, at that time it was a back office function, a support function, and not a strategic leadership function. But over the years, that has certainly changed. So these 3 factors, like the bookkeeping and accounting, financial reporting, and statutory compliance, are still valid and important today. But again, at that time, most of the decision-making, leadership, strategy, they were being taken care of by other C-suite executives in the organization. And the role of CFO was more towards kind of a final sign-off before any financial commitment was made. But as I said, 30 years fast forward, the role has totally changed. And today the CFO is considered to be a champion of change. And that is very important from the perspective of a CFO today. Leadership, strategy, innovation, technology, these are the important areas. So since we are short of time, I would just add a couple of important points here. And in my opinion, there are 4 pillars of the role of CFO today. And in that order, they are leadership, strategy, operations, and control. So operations and control come later, leadership and strategy come before. And what differentiates a good CFO who can bring a change or innovation in an organization compared to an average CFO of today? And I would say there are 4 qualities. First of all, a good CFO moves away from a rear mirror view thinking, and he has a forward-looking thinking. So he thinks more about the future rather than the past. That's very important. Also, typically, as I said, CFO was a control function. So he was supposed to ensure that the financial resources he was a custodian of the financial resources of the company. But today, he has to play a very different role, and that role is to lead the change and innovation and to ensure that the failure is acceptable. So typically, when you're talking about CFO, because when you're talking about any new idea or innovation, the concept was that obviously the expenses were sure or certain, but the revenue stream or the projected stream was not sure or it was uncertain. So CFO could be a stumbling block in the past, but today he has to lead that change from the front, and that is very, very important. Also, CFO as an organization leader has to because he has a cross-functional view of all the organization, all the segments of the business, so he can be a catalyst for change in an organization, and he can bring innovation. Is today's CFO ready for that? I leave this question to the audience. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shoaib. So I think building on that point, Ali, if I may engage you on this one. So, of course, there is a lot of opportunities even in marginalized markets. What are some of the considerations that you would advocate when people are considering such investments?
पहले तो I would like to confess something. It's a secret I've been hiding for 20 years. So if you allow me.
Sure.
तो जब मैं पाकिस्तान आया 1996 में, तो उस वक्त मैं ICAW क्वालिफाइड था. तो यहाँ पर आया तो मैं ICAP किया, तो उन्होंने मुझे भगा दिया. तो उन्होंने कहा कि जी आप भागें और आप जब तक टैक्स और ऑडिट का एग्ज़ाम नहीं देंगे हम आपको एडमिट नहीं करेंगे. तो अब तक मैं मेंबर नहीं हूँ इंस्टीट्यूट का, क्योंकि मैं डरता था कि अगर मैं एग्ज़ाम में अपीयर करूँ और फेल हो गया फिर क्या होगा. So it was something I've been guarding for many years. Now, on your point, right? What do you look at? So look, this is the way we work, at least the way I work, is I'll give you a very boring answer to this question, right? So what I do essentially is just follow others. So you just look at what's happening in the rest of the world, and then you see where Pakistan is, and then you see whether the market is ready for it or not. So it's a pretty simple thing. It's nothing out of the ordinary. All the businesses that I've started across the years, whether it's telematics, whether it's insurance, whether it's life insurance, whether it's REIT, is something which has been done before. And all I'm doing is executing in Pakistan. So there's nothing different. But what do I? So there was one business which I'm not going to name, and I was given an opportunity to invest in it, and it was sold for about $3 billion recently. So some of you may guess the name, and I didn't invest in it. And I gotten a chance at $40 million pre-money valuation of 5%. क्योंकि मैंने कहा कि ये पैसे नहीं बनते हैं इसमें, और दूसरा अगर पैसे बनेंगे तो स्टेट बैंक मुझे इजाज़त ही नहीं देगा पैसे बाहर भेजने की. तो these were opportunities I missed. So of course these are two considerations. In simple language, it's regulatory considerations, and secondly, of course, cash flow considerations, which is what I look at.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ali. So moving on to you, Shahid Saab, I think Ali came and sort of set up a bigger shop in Pakistan, or grew the shop that was already there. In your case, you have obviously started off in Pakistan and went the other way, mashallah, for a long time in the UAE now. So what advice would you give Pakistani businesses to be more appealing to the international marketplace?
Zarur, thank you very much. Yes. Giving me an opportunity. It's always a pleasure to be in any forum of ICAP. I live in UAE, and in the past 40 years, I think the crisis UAE has faced, or being surrounded by the crisis, there are very few countries or communities who would have done that and still survived and prospering. Just to give you an example, in March 2020, when the WHO announced the crisis of COVID, the first thing the whole society, including the government, did is started laying off people. And unemployment was a major, major crisis. In the next 3 months, from March to June, more than 1 million people had to leave the country. So in that period, the whole community of all the nationalities, we were all involved from the Pakistan angle, distributing food, giving the ration, going to the embassy, collecting money from various friends and giving money for the purchasing of tickets. That level of crisis you could see on every street, other than the fear of unknown which was prevailing during the crisis of COVID. Perhaps Pakistan was the least affected country in the COVID compared to others. And 30% was allowed to reduce from the salaries of employees if employers wish to do, and more than 80% of the employers in UAE opted for this, including the government and the large companies like Al Futtaim for the expatriate employees, not for the local. And number of Pakistani chartered accountants have come into the crisis, and that's a different story. What I want to tell you, by November 21, the UAE came up to the map of the world as the best country to visit, the only country to visit. And more than 59 head of the states and the government came and visited the Expo 2020 between November 2020 and March 2021. So the whole table of crisis was turned around. This is how you see the crisis, how you overcome the crisis, and how you achieve the goals you want to. So the first thing ever we all have learned, I have seen from the Lebanese war crisis to the Iran-Iraq war, then the takeover of the Kuwait, and then the Kuwait's liberation, then the fight between Qatar and Bahrain, the boycott of Qatar by the other countries, neighboring countries. Perhaps Pakistan has not seen the crisis the level the other countries have seen. But this is how you overcome those crises. This is how you live with those crises. I remember the year of 1990 and 91 when the Kuwait war was there. I run a medium-sized practice. Me and my partners were sitting and thinking what to do. How would we be paying salary? For 6 months of the war, there was no billing. Nobody was interested to get an audit done. And whoever got any assignment done, they were not paying. But we survived, we lived with it, and we expanded. So when the situation comes like this, you have to consolidate yourself, keep yourself in your proper senses, develop your skills to go into the new opportunities. As of now, there are more than 1,000 Pakistani chartered accountants in UAE only. I'm sure similar number in Saudi Arabia. One of the highest paid professionals, one of the most respected professionals over there. And more are in demand. And from 1st June 2022, 23 now, sorry, the corporate tax will be starting. And I'm sure there are more opportunities for the professionals. The good thing about Pakistani qualified and semi-qualified accountants are, they are well skilled and very hardworking. And the honesty is above board. I have hardly heard over the 40 years that the cases of malpractices or dishonesty or cheatings or other things. Having said that, only two things we require to do in life. I have been a member of ICAP for all 50 years now. The skills I learned in 50 years back, perhaps if I have to ask to appear in the exam again, instead of giving me a gold medal, they may withdraw my membership. So you have to, every day morning when you get up, keep yourself ready for that day. This is what the life is. If you are in summers, get ready for the summers. If you are in winter, get ready for the winter. If you are in Canada, nobody would expect that you will have a t-shirt and a half pant. But if you are in Dubai, yes, this is the right dress to be in the morning. So wherever you are, whichever society you are, you have the ability, being a chartered accountant, to understand where I am and what I am supposed to be. That is called the preparation of the day. If the technology is order of the day, have the technology. If the WeChat is the order of the day, of course we do that. When I was doing my articles with Ferguson's, there was no calculators. So the best of among us was who could do the addition with 3-4 figures together.
Thank you. So,
Then perhaps if you ask me to add 20 into 20, I will take a calculator and do it now. So having said that, what I see is the opportunities all around the world. I'm not talking about Pakistan. I'm sure there are lots of opportunities. We have to prepare ourselves.
thank
How
you.
to prepare and what to prepare is it. Second thing for the businessmen, which I just want to add a minute on it. Pakistani businessmen who want to do work outside Pakistan, one thing they will have to understand that outside Pakistan, book is followed. So they have to learn and understand mentally that they will not get away with the situation without following the book. And that is the job of the Pakistani CFOs or Pakistani accountants and chartered accountants, to make their CEOs understand that this is the law which they will have to follow if they want to be successful in a society outside Pakistan. I leave the comments for Pakistan with the other fellows. I'll be happy to answer any other questions.
Thank you very much, Shahid sir. Okay, so if you please pass the mic. Right, so I want to just, Faisal, before I have a question for you, but before I come to that, may I request the audience poll to be displayed as well? So while we are getting Faisal to answer a couple of questions, maybe we have this audience poll in parallel. Secondly, I will also request the audience, I have a few more questions, but recognizing the rich experiences on the panel here and the diverse sort of knowledge they bring, I'll be very happy to sort of entertain the audience questions given the time constraints we have. So please get your questions ready, and the poll has been displayed as well. Hopefully the poll is displayed with some QR code which you can complete, and we will review it at the end. Right, so you come from an entrepreneurial background, of course, very involved with technology. So I would like to understand, how do you feel the CFOs can contribute to building better organizational agility and contributing to the flexibility of the organization overall, leveraging technology and other levers?
Right. First of all, thank you very much, everyone, for being so receptive until now. And at the same time, what a fantastic show Sami Saab and the rest of the team has put up here. When I migrated back to Pakistan in 2009, so my little vision was that I'm going to be offering sustainable technology, and I'm going to save cost. And I'll tell corporates that you need to focus on your core business, and experts will deal the non-core. And my starting point was that I'm going to do accounting because I was an accountant. First 12 months, I was very clear that our market is not ready at all. So I switched to HR and admin solutions, so some bit of finance I added up. And then I started off on a platform concept because the success factor was there, the workday was there, and I thought I'm going to make the next workday of Pakistan. And I'm going to convince that we need local brands to be created rather than we are spending all the time the dollars, for SAP, Oracle, and Microsoft. That's probably the mindset most of the life we have been carrying. So moving forward, then Corona came. So I'd just like to address where we are today in terms of being the finance professionals and business leaders are sitting here. There is about, today in 2023, the global finance outsourcing market is about $60 billion. And about $60 billion, 70% is delivered from our region. You talk about India, you talk about China, you talk about Bangladesh, and in Pakistan, we are so non-receptive to think about out-of-box thinking within our finance department. And what Corona has done to us, whatever we were planning to sell, I was talking so much about digital world, digital strategy, transformation prior to Corona. And when the Corona came, whatever we made in terms of mobile transformation, everything started to sell. I used to say that, mobile is going to be your whole world, and that started to happen. The Corona has taken this world 7 years ahead. And that's the world we are in. We used to talk about future of work conferences, and we were telling people that there's going to be non-known core available to your company in times to come. And that is where the era we are in. And in next 3 years, you have to be really bothered about your non-core departments. If you're thinking that you're going to be able to secure your non-core within finance department, you won't be able to if you want to remain relevant to this world. Because when we are talking about ChatGPT, I'm sure after this poll, a lot of people must have, seen that what ChatGPT is all about. So the way the order things are moving on, the CFOs, what they need to do to make the organization enable to become a technologist. If any CFO and in business is sitting here, they're talking about AI, they don't know what AI is. If they talk about blockchain, they only know the caption. No, you need to go beyond that. And being the custodian, being the enabler, you have to be center corner part of your organization when it comes to your IT strategy. and your diversity strategy. Because if in terms of diversity, there are 2% women in this hall, which is very concerning to somebody like us who is perpetrating HR. So that percentage has to be 15-20%. And we have some phenomenal women in our sector who are changing the landscape. So that's the part, where CFOs need to be in terms of their skill-based enhancement. Change is what we need to embrace. It's all right to use the word of outsourcing within your department. You're not going to lose your control. Because we feel that what we need to do, we need to cater to the strategic areas. A lot of discussion has taken place locally and globally that what is the role post 2025 between CDO and CFO. So we need to make ourselves relevant in this country to make sure that we are talking out of box. We are letting the technology embrace us. We are not controlling our domains. And we are not restricted to what technology is scaring us, that probably I lose the headcount. I probably will have to let the control go. This digitalization, whether you like it or you don't like it, that is going to be the way forward if the business has to exist. Part two is what the global opportunity we have. We heard, previously two speakers and they were on dot. I strongly believe, I expanded last 1 year outside Pakistan because with this currency depreciation, ladies and gentlemen, we are the most competitive for the global market. This is the time that our entrepreneurs should go out of Pakistan and use Pakistan as the delivery center. When we say delivery center, means that we are the labor arbitrage, probably the best. It's all about taking our companies to that level where we can compete internationally. I know we have a brand issue as well, but we can wrap it up. We can put a different wrapper to make sure that the dying pricing arbitrage, what we have today, I'm competing in a market where the going rate is $10 and I'm offering services for $4. That is the kind of cushion we have if we place it right outside Pakistan.
Absolutely.
And there's a huge scope for Pakistan, and I'm quite sure that this market is going to be there, and all of us, we are prepared to become more as a salaried class. If people are exiting out of Pakistan, start your ventures.
Right.
In Pakistan, I like to see more chartered firms coming up, in the arena, being an entrepreneur and making the grounds. So that's the little bit I had to say.
No, thank you so much, Faisal. It's so insightful. I think you will have access to the CFO Conference app by now. I'm sure there is more questions with such a capable panel. So please do leverage the app to sort of send further questions. If there is any questions in the audience, we can maybe take one more question from the audience just to stick to our timings for the session. Any questions from the audience? I can see a hand go up there. If someone can bring a mic there, please. So fourth row in the middle. And organizers, if you can display okay, you've already done that.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Shakil Khwaja. I am a chartered management accountant from Swiss Oil and Gas Company. My question is to Mr. Faisal Kamal. As the emerging technologies of AI like ChatGPT are prevailing nowadays, and many AI tools for ERP is available, what skill sets you require in the future professionals, let alone not finance professionals only, in hiring future professionals? Mr. Faisal Kamal.
Yeah, at this point in time, when somebody asks me, a type of question, I say, why not, in finance department, somebody specialized in IT? Because the question is that, some bit you can learn, but some bit you always need to outsource. So for finance professionals, starting from academia, there's a lot of focus has to be done in technology. If somebody asks me, in any institution, if you're not forefront of technology, we will become irrelevant in times to come, whether we part of any profession or not. So in terms of the skill base, as I mentioned, instead of talking about AI, how AI is going to transform in terms of the sector alone, whatever we are studying based on chartered accountancy, that is part one. But when we talk about gig economy, when we talk about gig, worker, they have the skill base of multiple areas, what we need to do. And the conventional mindset that if I'm a chartered accountant, I need to be CFO, that mindset has to change. Because finance can go into multiple dimensions. Finance people are part of service delivery professionals. Even in my company, I have close to about 13, 14 ACCAs and about 5 chartered accountants. They all are becoming national service delivery managers and making probably much more than CFOs. So the question is that our conventional mindset has to change very fast to be enabled to have those skill base. If you're doing chartered accountancy, there's no harm in getting a certification in AI, because now the learning facet is so easy, and that is the responsibility of the company, because they don't teach finance people the AI skills, and they feel that IT people only need to learn AI skills. The cross-functional, the HR department and the finance department, they have to play a major role in make sure that we are training people in cross soft skills to make sure they become relevant to it.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank
for
you
your
so
valued
much.
and comprehensive response.
Thank you very much, Faisal. I think we are out of time, so I would like to thank all of my panelists here. Thank you very much for your contributions. To the audience, like I said, if you have any further questions, please do leverage the app to reach out to our panelists. Thank you so much. Thank you very much.